Howdy, everyone. It's Sam. I hope you're doing really well. If you're new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. First game of round 14 kicked off this evening from QCB Stadium, where the North Queensland Cowboys hosted the St. George Illawarra Dragons. And the Cowboys walked away with the dub, 31 points to 12, in a bit of a hard-fought victory in the end of things. There are a couple of things that I want to mention before I go into the review. And the first thing that I want to mention is that there were Tongan soldiers, approximately 20 or 30 of them, that the commentators made mention of throughout the contest. And they were chanting, they were singing throughout the game. And if you're one of them Tongan soldiers that were in attendance tonight, I could hear you. We could all hear you. And just hearing some chanting, some tunes around the ground was so good to hear. And hopefully, like, the Cowboys can sort of leech off and evolve from that, because hearing them chants around the ground was fantastic as well. And kudos to Mr. Valentine Holmes as well, who played in his 150th contest as well. The best way that I can summarize that contest was, on the Cowboys' perspective, is that it was a game where they did not play their best, but they still ended up winning 13 plus. And that's always a comment that's made whenever Storm or Penrith or Roosters win in those sort of circumstances by the media. And the Cowboys got that win tonight, not playing their best, but they ended up winning by another hefty margin as well. Yeah, the Dragons scored a try in the second half, but I was sort of anticipating it. It sort of was one of their mid-season contests where the Cowboys, they looked tired. Like, from about the 30th minute, the Cowboys looked like a tired footy side, and it didn't help them in the second half when they walked into the dressing room sheds and they probably heard, probably the biggest Cowboys team news out of the night, definitely is, that Hylam Lukey has a suspected, must stress, Hylam Lukey has a suspected ACL injury that would rule him out for the rest of season 2022, alongside Mitchell Dunn as well. So that's absolutely devastating news for Hylam Lukey, for the Cowboys, and all the best in your recovery, young man. You looked ominous. You looked ominous last week as well, bro, and I wish you nothing but the best in your recovery. If it is an ACL or not, just want you out there on the bloody paddock, because I think you're a fantastic young prospect who's showing some really, as I said, some really ominous signs as well. So let's get stuck into the game. And North Queensland Cowboys kicked off first, left to right, and the Dragons didn't complete their first two sets. Scott Drinkwater didn't complete the very first tackle that the Cowboys had possession of the ball, and everyone I reckon everyone slumped back in their chairs and went, oh, is it going to be one of them games, is it? But no, it didn't end up being like that, in my opinion. Certainly no Titans Tigers of 2022. The try scoring actually started in the 5th minute, when the Cowboys actually controlled possession. That was spreading the ball out deep in their own territory and really making yards up the middle. And yeah, they looked really good. The Queensland origin representatives from the Cowboys, gee whiz, man, they looked, especially Tom Dearden, they looked like they came back from camp knowing how to upgrade themselves and how to take their game and the Cowboys to the next level. Gee whiz, especially Tom Dearden. By Joe, by crikey. And Tom Dearden was actually the man that put himself in sort of like a really flat position to receive a pass from Reece Robson from dummy half. And Tom Dearden caught the ball, put Cohen Hess into a nice gap, and Cohen Hess sort of fought his way to get an offload back on the inside to Scott Drinkwater, who backed up. And Scott Drinkwater pretty much redeemed himself for making the first error of the contest, getting the scoreboard ticking over inside the first 5 minutes of the contest. And it was the Cowboys up 6-0. And then the kickoff happened from the Dragons, and the Cowboys just looked super confident coming out of their own half. They really did, especially when obviously they started controlling possession. The next bit of points came in the 11th minute, where again, Mr. Scott Drinkwater put in a fourth tackle grubber kick for Peter Hiku. Really nicely set up. I will say that Peter Hiku was flat. He was super flat when Scott Drinkwater put in that kick for the try, and Scott and Peter Hiku planted the ball down nicely. So the Cowboys, in the blink of an eye sort of thing, were up, and they were keeping up with the scoreboard. After 11 and a half minutes, they were up 12-0, and at one stage there, I really started to get confident that maybe 40 points could have been scored this evening, but alas, it was not meant to be. Before I continue going on to the contest, I just want to go in and say good day to everyone that's tuning in right now. Mr. Parenzo Vids, hey dude, it was a pretty good win. I can't say it was a great win, but it was a pretty good win. Rugby League Roundup, hey dude, good game, man. You're a Dragon supporter and good game. We played good in attack, but we just didn't execute. Yeah, dude, that's essentially it. Mr. Max, hey dude, sucked in rugby. Oh dear, civil war. In Rugby League Roundup's house. Paddy G, man, hey dude, long time no see, long time no talk, man. I hope you are doing really well. Paddy G says my preseason prediction: the Cowboys versus Panthers is still out, as I've said since last October. Yeah, bro, I know, man. What a grand final we have in store, dude. I know, right? I know. So let's go back into the review. And in the 19th minute, this isn't a point scoring piece of news that happened, but in the 19th minute, the Dragons got forced a goal line dropout, and there was a goal line dropout that was executed by Scott Drinkwater, and it was Chad Townsend who had a brilliant wherewithal to make sure that he was beyond the 10-meter line and was the first man on the ball to punch it back into a Cowboys player that was thereabouts. So there was a short dropout. Chad Townsend punched back a ball that looked like it was not going to go the full 10, or it looked like it was going to go out. But no, he punched it back in, and I thought that was a brilliant play from Chad Townsend, who had a pretty nice game tonight. Not man of the match, but I thought Chad Townsend actually had a pretty nice game tonight, albeit maybe a couple of missed tackles here and there. And then because of that, in the 21st minute, the Cowboys charged downfield. They were really making some nasty meters on the Dragons, up the guts. And that's what was leading me to think that maybe there could be 40 points on offer for the North Queensland Cowboys. But in the 21st minute, it went out to Tom Dearden on the last tackle. He put up a bomb. And I can't recollect if it was a high shot or if it was a late shot by Blake Laurie. But in any event, Blake Laurie put himself and Tom Dearden in a really nasty situation. And the referee, Todd Smith, this evening, who I'll get into in a minute, blew the penalty. And it was Valentine Holmes who hopped on the advantage and made it 14 points to nil to the North Queensland Cowboys after 21 and a half minutes. And then the next bit of point scoring didn't eventuate until the 29th minute, and I absolutely screamed the house down. I reckon the person 2 blocks away from me could have heard me scream. So Griffin Neame came off the bench in jersey number 17. And I think it was approximately the third tackle in the set. And the Cowboys were at about the halfway line. And Jason Taumalolo, man, his ball playing skills, whoa, in the lock position tonight, whoa, he has worked so hard in the off season, and it has shown not just tonight, but over the past couple of weeks. And he popped off a little short ball to Griffin Neame, a la the try Griffin Neame scored back in round number 3 against the Brisbane Broncos. But Griffin Neame from the halfway line got the ball from Taumalolo, made approximately 15 to 20 meters, and then threw a pass back on the inside to Reece Robson, who had more pace, and he ended up running about 30 odd meters to score the Cowboys' next try. And then it was 20 points to nil after half an hour. Oh, man, I absolutely screamed the house down, man. I think Griffin Neame is going to be that really nice offset to the pain that the Cowboys are going to feel, knowing that Tom Gilbert is not going to be there in 2023. I think it's a like-for-like replacement sort of thing. I'm such a fan of Griffin Neame. I really hope he has a long tenure at the North Queensland Cowboys. And then, unfortunately, the next points came in the 36th minute from Moses Suli, and it was just ill discipline from the Cowboys. A lot of six agains. The referee blew the P out of the whistle this evening, and it was Moses Suli who scored what I would say, with all due respect, an unlikable try. It was he lost possession, and he gathered it before a Cowboys player touched it, and he ended up scoring a try. And it was just a really unlikable try, man. It was a very lucky but unlikable try from Moses Suli. And the halftime score was 20 points to 6 going in at halftime. And look, as I touched on there, the first half from me was basically, if the Cowboys can clean up their discipline, edit out a couple more of their errors, the Cowboys really well and truly could put 40 or maybe even 50 points onto the St. George Illawarra Dragons tonight, because I just thought that their defense up the guts in the middle, the Dragons, wasn't hard enough. It was not hard enough, in my opinion. But anyway, the second half got underway. Actually, just before I go on, I will go back into the chat and say good day. I believe Jonathan Rubin was in Cowboys reserve grade. Just quickly, yes, that is another good point to touch on, man. And that's Jonathan Rubin, debuted at the age of 29 for the St. George Illawarra Dragons, out there on the wing. And I thought, well, he made some meters, didn't he? He must have ran for over 100 meters tonight in his first grade debut. And yeah, he probably missed a couple of tackles here and there, but good on him. I thought, even though they did lose 13 plus, I think Jonathan Rubin can be, kind of thrilled. I think he should be thrilled that he made his first grade debut finally. So that is really good. Maxie says, even though I'm happy Dragons lost, I'm angry with Todd Smith. Had an average referee. Happy he's shutting down games. We'll get into him in a sec. Mirko, Stripe, Filipovic, Miocic, Croatian Goats. Do you think they can beat Broncos next week without Tyson Gamble? I think that a young man, I'll assume that you're a young man. I don't think that Broncos Dragons game is happening for another 2 weeks. I think you might be going off a little bit early there. I don't think so, because I think I like the look of Ezra Mam, to answer your question. But in relation to the Dragons, I think you're a couple of weeks going off too early. And to the Cowboys, I think you're going off a couple of weeks too early. I'm pretty sure you are, mate, because I know the Cowboys are up against the Manly Sea Eagles next week, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. So second half starts, and in about the 44th minute of the second half, Zach Lomax, I think it was about the second or third tackle, tried a flick pass from deep inside his own territory to get off to his winger. I think it was Tata Moga, I think it was, or maybe it was Ruben. Anyway, put off a flick pass, a really sort of like a harken back to Jermaine Azarko last week, where he tried to sort of offload. And Mario Tuolangi and/or Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow just said, nah, no way, that's silly. And that's what everybody else thought as well. It was a really silly play, in my opinion, to try and throw a flick pass in that sort of situation when you're down by 14 odd points. And Mario Tuolangi sort of just intercepted it and scored the first points of the second half, and the scoreline ballooned out to 24 points to 6. And then pretty much not until the 73rd minute that Chad Townsend scored a field goal, and it ended up being 25 points to 6. And just to young Max's point, I'll say this. So after Chad Townsend scored his field goal, short kick restart from the Dragons, I need to look at it again, but on first viewing, did that not look like it either came off a Dragon first, or at least there should have been an accidental offside call going against the Dragons? Like, fair dinkum. And yeah, I'll go off on it now. I think the refereeing tonight, especially from the touch judges, there were that many forward passes from both Cowboys and Dragons tonight. The sooner, in my opinion, this is hot take, the sooner that we can get forward pass technology into the game to eradicate all these forward passes, the better, in my opinion. There were that many of them tonight. I think Todd Smith, for a young rookie referee, I thought he had a Barry. I thought he had a Barry tonight, man. It didn't cost anyone the game, but he blew the P out of the whistle. He missed certain calls, and yeah, man, I wasn't a fan of the refereeing tonight, but it didn't really cost anyone the game in the end, though, did it? So because of the Dragons getting the ball back from the short kick restart, Jaden Sewer crashes over for a try. And I got to say, I was watching the Channel 9 commentary. It featured for Salters, Gould, and Brad Fittler. And they, were going on about the second half defensive efforts from the Cowboys over the past 8 weeks or so. And rightfully so, deservedly so. It was great to actually hear them talk positively about them tonight. And just, they crashed over, and I think it was Brad Fittler that was going, yeah, I knew it. I knew it. I knew that was going to happen. Sorry about that. The Cowboys efforts have been broken, No, man, shit happens. It was a nice record, but still, that's still 16 points in 8 second halves. I think any other club would still take that. And again, tonight's effort from the Cowboys was a tired effort, and I've been sort of waiting for that. It sort of reared its head against the Newcastle Knights, and it did. It reared its head tonight, and I think it's good to get that out of the way now. It's definitely good to get that out of the way. Now, anyway, that's not where the game finished, though. So Cowboys ended up getting the ball back inside the final 5 minutes. A penalty was given by a Dragons player to the North Queensland Cowboys. And then it was a pass from Robson out to Townsend. And Cohen Hess was sort of in the middle of the goalpost, and the touchline. He got it off to Connolly Lemuelu, who was sort of playing in a center position. And Connolly Lemuelu just gave a big don't argue to a Dragons player. I don't remember who. And he ended up running 15 to 20 meters to score a try. And therefore, the final scoreline was 31 points to 12. And not the best game of rugby league that's happened this year. But in saying that, though, there was still some really nice entertainment to be had in this contest. A lot of breaks, especially from the Dragons, just quietly, where Jonathan Rubin made a lot of meters for sure. And yeah, it was just a performance from the Cowboys where they didn't play their best, but they still got the chockies in the end. Their defense still stood strong. 12 points in one game of footy. That's nothing to really smirk at. Let's get real. And they also completed at 88%. And that was something that I said in the preview in the tip show that I put out the other day that I really wanted to see improved, because it had been sitting at about 65% for the past fortnight, maybe even 3 weeks in a row now. And they rectified it. And it was sort of just the Dragons' territory game in that second half. And that's just footy. And, they still ended up scoring 2 tries in the end and a field goal. And they just blessed them in that first half, man. the Cowboys looked so good in that first half, and then they probably heard the news of Lukey, and then Tom Gilbert went down with a bit of an injury, and yeah, it was just a tired but good old effort from the North Queensland Cowboys. So some of the stats coming out of tonight's game. So the Cowboys were 51% possession to the St. George Illawarra Dragons, 49%. The Dragons, I think, completed 27 from 40 sets. Cowboys completed about 34 from 39. So that's a really nice effort from the Cowboys, who were more so on the defensive side of things inside that second half. And then as far as individual performances, Reece Robson topped the tackle count with 50, hitting the half-century mark. He also ran for 110 meters, scored a try himself. He's on the podium, that's for sure. Jason Taumalolo ran the most meters than anybody else on the paddock tonight, running for 204 or 207 meters, but he cracked the 200 odd meters, and he had a couple of offloads in him. And this is more so to shine a spotlight on Reece Robson's effort tonight. Reece Robson finished with 50 tackles, and Jason Taumalolo on the Cowboys side of things finished with 32 tackles. So Reece Robson tackled his willy off this evening at QCB Stadium. And then Chad Townsend, he kicked for another 400 meters. Just it's the norm with Chad. And I said about at the 50th minute mark that I'd like to see some sort of more dangerous kicks from Chad Townsend, a little bit more variety in his kicking game, because just throughout the game, I felt like they were just going up and going down, or going straight down the paddock and just sort of landing comfortably for one of the back three to bring it back upfield. And then Chad Townsend put in a third tackle kick. And that's sort of what changed the momentum, or at least halted the momentum of the Dragons there for a little while, because they looked like they were just starting to forge their way back into some sort of groove. But Chad Townsend put in a third tackle kick after the try from the Cowboys. And yeah, dude, his kicking game, as soon as I said it, it's like he freaking heard me. His kicking game just got so much better. For sure. And Tom Dearden only kicked it once or twice tonight. I really would like to see, probably not next week, but sometime soon, I'd like to see Tom Dearden actually be the main kicker, if he's actually evolving to become that main halfback for the Cowboys over the next few or so years. But yeah, anyway, Tom Dearden still had a very strong game, and he looked like he learnt something from State of Origin camp, and so did Murray Tuolangi. And yeah, they came back and actually executed really, really well. So my best three on ground for this evening, I'd say number 3, Jordan McLean. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Jordan McLean, if he gets offered a contract extension in the not too distant future, in the next month or so, I am not opposed to it. I would not be opposed to it. I think, he knows he's fighting for a contract. But boy, howdy, he was fantastic tonight. There was even a moment where Jason Taumalolo made a break and ran 10 meters, and who was beside him? It was Jordan freaking McLean. It wasn't Chad. It wasn't Tom Dearden. It wasn't Reece Robson. It was freaking Jordan McLean right there with him, man. So, dude, I think Jordan McLean, bronze medalist, bro. He ran for 110 meters. Or no, sorry, I think I'm cutting him short. I'm pretty sure Jordan McLean ran for 144 meters tonight, man. He was exceptional. He was very, very, very good tonight, Jordan McLean. And then it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up between Reece Robson and Jason Taumalolo. And I gave Jason Taumalolo the man of the match last week, and I think I've got to do it again. So Reece Robson gets my silver medal for best on ground. He ran for 110 meters, 50 tackles, scored a try, defense. His defense caused errors for the Dragons. Really, really good. But Jason Taumalolo effectively did the same thing as well, with a couple of offloads there, just minus the try in the end. Tamalolo, I just thought the reason why I'm going to give him the man of the match, in my opinion, is his ball playing, bro. He could have ran for 300 meters if this was the year 2017, but the 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 evolution of his game with the implementation of his ball playing skills is here. It's here and now, people. He is throwing some wickedly good passes, whether it's going out the back or it's a cutout or it's a short ball to Griffin Neen. Jason Taumalola, man, has a ball playing game. He has a ball playing attribute to his belt that makes him so much more dangerous. And I just think he is the best on ground for the North Queensland Cowboys tonight, the second week in a row. So there you have it. That was my review for tonight's round 14 game, Cowboys versus Dragons. Cowboys getting the win, 31 points to 12. I want to say thank you very much to Rugby League Roundup, who stuck through this match review reaction with me. So thank you very much. And him, you can go check him out on YouTube as well. Rugby League Roundup, easy to find. And I'll just go through some of his comments here. Yeah, I agree. Didn't cost us the game, but we need forward pass technology. I'm glad that you agree with that, bro, for sure. And Dragons man of the match, he reckons Tata Mo. Fair enough. Ben Hunt warmed up pretty slowly into the game. Thought he had a good game, albeit a little bit quiet. Yeah, I guess Amon is a fair shout. I think Amon is definitely a fair shout, dude. And there you go. His man of the match is Taumalolo as well. So yeah, I think Taumalolo just gets it ahead of Reece Robson, and Jordan McLean was my third medalist. But just a shout out to Tom Dearden as well, man. Holy crap, dude. He looked like he learned something for sure. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Have a very nice weekend. I know I'm going to have a very nice weekend now. Just bit my tongue. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. And please tune in next week to not only the tips show that I provide every Tuesday night, but also next Tuesday night, I'm going to be joined by Parenzo Vids to preview what could be one of the games of the round. I think it is one of the games of the round, Manly versus North Queensland from Four Pines Park next week. I'm going to do a preview with him live on my channel next week. So adios, everybody, and take care. Thank you.